Hey, this is Lou from Long Island Nightlight Radio, LINL Radio for short. I'm very pleased to have a special guest on the station here, video call and audio call. I'm chatting with Billy from Side Hustle Profits this evening. So we're going to find out a bit about the band and we're going to learn about their latest release that's coming out pretty soon. Okay. So just want to say good evening to Billy. How you doing, Billy?
Great, Lou. Thanks so much. Thank you for having me. I'm really honored. Thank you.
Cool. And thanks for giving your time and also contributing your music over the last little while since we, first connected and everything. The radio station wouldn't exist without all the fine artists that are contributing. So I appreciate that very
Thanks,
much.
man. Yeah, it was easy, and it's a real thrill to hear it on the radio. It really is.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
thank you.
Awesome. I'm glad.
Awesome.
So before we get into the new release, maybe we could just like lay the foundation. Tell me about the band.
Sure.
What kind of music do you play? The instrumentation? How did the band form? How did you come up with these ideas and everything like that? Maybe we could lay that groundwork down before we get into when your release is coming out.
So I've always written original music, and I had the idea of creating a kind of virtual band, if you will, where I write all the music or I collaborate, and I do a bass demo track, and I meet in my network, music network, or I find people on SoundCloud or whatever, musicians to collaborate, or they'll contribute to the songs. So Side Hustle Profits is musicians that do things on the side, and the profit part is we're all full of shit.
I want to emphasize too, because the main thing about the interview here and everything, and the purpose of the radio station is just to get your music out. The word profit is PROPHET. I just want to emphasize that. Just
Yes, profit.
because I'm hoping that folks will check this out and go look you up and go follow you and all that kind of stuff. So I want to make sure that that's clear.
Thanks.
I like that. It's a pretty clever turn of the
Yeah,
phrase there.
it's a lot of fun, and you get to make friends along the way. So that's the essence of Side Hustle Profits.
It's amazing what today's technology allows us to do as far as collaborating with other artists.
It is. And I've collaborated with artists in Japan, UK, Germany, Mexico, all over the United States. And, most are great friends. But
Yeah.
sometimes I don't know.
Right.
Everybody's different, and they bring different things to the tables. And it's an interesting process. I really love it.
That's
I
cool.
really do love it.
That's awesome.
And then, I do have a live band, which is called McVicious,
Okay.
like a McMansion, not quite vicious, but McVicious. That's the live band where we do covers, and they very graciously do some of my songs, which is a lot of fun to perform your own songs in front of an audience and see a reaction. It's a really cool, amazing experience. But you can't do that without doing a bunch of covers, because
Of course.
covers sell drinks.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's the live and the virtual music thing that I do. So everything I sent you is the new song that I sent you. Well, you go ahead and continue the interview. I don't want to
Yeah,
leap over.
I was just going to ask you about like that you do the production aspect of it as well yourself, right?
Yes, I do the
Okay.
production, and
Yeah.
that's I do all the mixing and engineering, and I do it all on Logic Pro on my
Okay.
laptop, on the laptop that we're talking on. And it's just like anything. At first, I wasn't very good at it. Now I'm getting a lot better. And as you get better as a producer, the creativity there in that space is even greater than just being a guitar player or a
Sure.
bassist, because now you're mixing everything together and finding new sounds, and you can take risks and then find that person that could do that thing. It's a lot of fun. It's like a mini business. And then go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I find when doing the production, it's like you kind of need like a little bit of imagination too, because you're free to do a lot of things, but you have to come up with the thing to do. So
Yeah.
so that I just find that being a producer myself too, that's something that's grown a while too. It's like the ideas of what can I do here. I have the capability of doing a lot of stuff, so what can I do that will fit with this tune or whatever. So
Exactly. And that's being super creative. That's like 3D music, when you start producing stuff, right?
sure.
You're really finding that little thing you want to hear. Your ear wants to hear something, and then you got to find out what it is.
Even if it's something that you can't pull off live, you could do it in the studio.
Exactly. So yeah, everything that I do is produce, and then when it's live, it's toned
Yeah.
down quite a bit because you got to 5-piece band.
Yep.
And yeah, so that's that. And then also fun is the doing the social media stuff, because that's where you got to like market and sell yourself.
Hmm.
Because it's a hobby, and I get a kick out of every aspect of it, and it's like a little fantasy world, and I get to see the stats of who's listening.
Yeah.
I don't lose sleep over it, but I do get a great thrill when someone comments on that, like one little piece of sound that you want to put in your production, and they pick up on it, and you hear it, and you're like, right on.
So now that we laid the groundwork of who Side Hustle Profits are and what you do, maybe we could talk about the new release a little bit here, and maybe get some details on the song and the release date and et cetera, et cetera. Anything relevant to that?
The new song is called Roadkill Love Story.
Okay.
And Roadkill Love Story was inspired. I was collaborating with this guy in Germany. His name is Christoph. We start chatting. And then this guy comes on, and he's, got the big muscles. He's fully tatted up. And I get to know this guy. He's a biker. He's got the long hair. He's got, again, the big tattoos and whatnot, and long hair. And when I was a kid, one of my neighbors, their son was in the Pagans, the motorcycle gang.
Okay.
And they used to party all the time. And they were nice to the kids. I was little. So we'd run around, and they would have their parties. And you see the motorcycles going by and the guys with the muscles. And one, I guess it was either probably in the spring or in like June. It was warm out. So our windows were open in our house. And one of these guys was flying down the road and hit a brick fence across the street from my house and just was torn to pieces.
No.
And so the cop cars are out there, and this is like 70s, mid 70s. So, and it was at night, and, it was right at the bus stop. So we went to the bus stop the next day, and there's all these chunks. Like they didn't do a good job cleaning up. It was really scary. So I started collaborating with my buddy there in Germany. He's got the biker thing going. He's got the biker look. And I just came up with this little riff on my own. And I was telling him about why I don't ride motorcycles. It's because of this story.
Sure.
And, then I said the word story, and that stuck with me. And then I got in my car, and I'm listening to the riff that I recorded, and I parked to get my salad, and there's a dead raccoon right next to the car. And I said, and the title just came to me, Roadkill Love Story. So the story, it's really a tale of like Frankenstein, where Frankenstein is a young woman that builds her perfect man, the man of her dreams, out of roadside body parts.
Oh, okay.
So it's a Frankenstein. So it's called Roadkill's Love Story. So, you could think of, like Edward Scissorhands type visualization, like Halloween.
Sure.
So it's all about her creating this perfect man and them getting together and then kind of riding off in the sunset into a grunge, heavy riffing tune with some screaming and some whatnot. So it was a very visual thing. And it was a lot of fun for me to create.
I got two things. One is, my next question was going to be, what is your writing process like? And you just laid it out there perfectly right there. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. The other thing is you just mentioned visual, and I was just wanted to mention that the artwork for the single is very, very intense, and it pops. It definitely is eye grabbing.
For Roadkill Love Story, my buddy Chris in Germany, he's the one that plays the fills and lead guitar. And then for drumming, I used Justin Scheinling. I have a tough time saying his last name, who is a local Long Island drummer. And again, we do all this remotely.
Wow.
Justin has a thing in his house to do the drums. He's all mic'd up. He just sends me the files, all the stems. Chris sends me his stuff, and I just get to finishing the song after the whole thing.
Cool. No, it's awesome though, and I find it really interesting. Like, how did these songs come to be? So whenever I do interviews, I always ask about that, and I go into that question delicately because maybe some folks don't want to give out the secret sauce. But I think it's a fascinating process. Just where do songs come from? So, and I'm sure
Yeah,
that.
mine
Sure.
mine
Go
are
ahead.
all visual. They come from dreams. They'll come from, what really happens is like when I put together a bunch of riffs, I'll find the hook, right, or the chorus. And then I'll play it over and over again until some words just start to develop in my brain.
Like, how did you personally get started in music? And then, as you're discussing that, who influenced you as far as like artists, along the way?
Right on. Well, I'm a child of the 70s, so Black Sabbath, etc. Black
Hmm.
Sabbath is probably my favorite. But I got most of my inspiration. My sister was much older than me, and she was going to NYU in the 70s during the punk era. So punk music was just getting huge, and she was in NYU, and she was part of the music scene. So she used to come home with all these different albums for me to listen to, and all of them were great. And I still, I remembered how special those were when they came in. And we didn't have MTV; we had an album cover, and so you just sit there and dream about what these guys look like or what they're saying. So I
Yeah.
guess maybe that's where the visualization came from because they just sit there for hours and hours and hours, and all different genres. And we just had the family had a guitar; it was like a decoration, and just started twanging on it. Went to college, and then you meet guys that are really good, and you learn from them, and you get more inspired. And my music is self-taught, and I just developed through the years, just get better and better at it. It's mostly just chasing things, chasing something you want to hear.
Sure.
That's how I got better. Not so much trying to copy somebody. I'm just trying to chase what I hear. And I think I have a unique sound because I never try. I don't learn other people's songs. I just like they do it way better than I could. Inspired from everything, rap, reggae, everything. I love all music.
That's one of the cool freedoms of being an indie artist is you could do whatever you want musically, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great. And I'm lucky I could do it all. It's very satisfying. And the cherry on the top is doing stuff like this. My
Yeah.
song released
Yeah.
on LINL Radio.
Yeah. No, it'll definitely be played on Lionel Radio and it'll go into rotation after we,
Yeah, man.
after
It's
we
freaking
hype it up a little bit for its release.
Yeah, man, hype it up, and it's a cool story. It's a Long Island story. I grew up on the South Shore, of Long Island. Loved it down there. I live in Huntington now, so I'm a displaced South Shore guy.
Gotcha. Yeah, the South Shore has its own, and I noticed this a while ago. I was playing in a few different bands, and whenever I'd be going to rehearsal or going to a show to play, I'd be heading south. It seemed like all the music was always south,
Yeah.
you know, as
Yes.
far as Long Island. So,
Yeah. Well, there's more people on the South Shore, so that might be it too.
and I don't know, I just feel like there's maybe more creativity or something like that. And unfortunately, I'm closer to the North Shore, so.
I gotta say, man, I go out as often as I can to see live music.
Mhm.
I get blown away by the musicianship. Sometimes
Yeah.
I get blown away. I'm like, whoa,
Yep.
that is amazing. And I was in Brooklyn a couple weeks ago, and I saw original bands, and they're much younger than me. One of my niece, I guess he's a nephew, has his own band, and they're really fantastic. They're called the Upsides. They're really good, and I got to see them do a live show, and it was amazing. The musicianship and everything else, just
It's tell them to send their music to me. I'd be happy to.
yeah. Oh yeah, they'll do it. I'll
Yeah,
talk to him.
that'd be
He's
great.
got a new album coming out.
I'm always looking for music. And the station it has like an international reach, which is pretty amazing to me, but it's always going to be a Long Island station. So,
Yeah,
the more Long Island
a
music.
lot of musicians, a lot of great musicians came out of Long Island. So,
I think it's
ooh, I
great that
lost you.
think that it's great that there's an international reach because then when Long Islanders send me their music, there's a good chance it could get heard in other places. Okay, all right. So we found out that you're a classic rock Black Sabbath guy. It sounds like your first instrument was the guitar that was sitting around in the house, so that's pretty cool. It's always good to have instruments laying around. You never know who's going to pick them up and start playing, right?
Exactly.
So I just have one more thing for you, Billy. I just wanted to ask, like, what's coming next down the road a little bit. I mean, I know you got this release that you're preparing for. Do you have another song in mind, or any shows, or something like that, or taking a break? Like, what's happening after the release of?
Good question.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got quite a few songs coming out this year. There's always I always have a song in the chamber, if
Hmm.
you will. So right now I have three that'll be released before August,
Awesome.
and I release things as singles. So
Yep.
and then I'm always writing stuff. So that's a continuous process. So I got a bunch of riffs that I'm putting things together. And then in the fall, this would be of interest, and you could probably help me out with this as well. I do a fundraiser with Long Island Cares. It's a
Oh,
live
great.
music benefit with Long Island bands. We usually get like three bands, and the band I'm with, which is called McVicious, we will pay for. We get a keg, we get a barbecue guy, and we get ice cream truck for the kids. and we do it at the beach up here in the North Shore. And we raise money for Long Island Care. So we feed everybody. We take care of you, and you guys got to take care of Long Island Care. So you reach in your pocket, you make a cash donation, or you bring food. So, and that's called Schnittemberfest,
Okay.
which is the second Saturday in September. And I've been doing stuff with Long Island Cares for like 20 years at various different things. And the Rock Festival is the newest thing. It's a real community thing. There's parking and stuff. It's a lot of fun. And we're always the more the merrier, whoever could show up. So right now we have two bands. We're looking for the marquee band right now. So that, someone who's got a big reach, who's got a lot of,
Well,
people with money who would give
yep.
to a great cause, which is Long Island Cares. And that's going to happen the second Saturday in September, called Schnittemberfest.
I may
So
have, I may have a suggestion for you too once we're off the
great.
air. If I can help at all, I will. I
Yeah.
love Long Island Cares. I volunteered there about 25 times over the years.
Oh, that's great, man.
Yeah, yeah. So you're really speaking to me now. When you bring that up, they do amazing things for Long Islanders. So,
They sure do.
I just want to wrap it up by saying this too. For those of you who are listening to the audio of this interview, once we sign off, stay tuned because you're going to hear some music from Side Hustle Profits. Okay. And if you're checking out the video, then you're gonna have to go search it up, yourself. All right. But Billy, thank you so much for giving your time and your energy and your ideas and everything like that. I appreciate having you on. I'm looking forward to the new tune. I'm looking forward to more new tunes, and I'm looking forward to now this concert. To raise money for Long Island Cares. So that's awesome.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
All right. So, like I just said, those of you listening on LINL Radio, just stay tuned. Don't change that dial. Don't go anywhere because Roadkill Love Story by Side Hustle Profits is coming up right now.
Thanks, guys.